Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Winner's Circle. Today, my guest is Christine Blackburn of Story Worthy Podcast, who is such a champ at production and her podcasting and everything entertainment comedy. And please welcome Christine Blackburn to the show. Hi, Christine.
Hi, Margot. It's so nice to be here.
It's so great to have you. Christine, when I think of someone who does podcasting and just comedy production well, you are the first person that pops into my mind. You were somebody with Story Worthy Podcast. I think it must be more than a decade that you've been doing it. And I know a couple of people started before you, but you were really the first person I knew of. By far, the first person I tuned into. Christine, what do you think has happened to podcasting like in the last 10 years? If you were giving somebody a tip starting today, what would you think to say to them?
Oh, no. I mean, it's so exciting. I mean, the world of podcasting is really brand new. You'll look at statistics and see that there's 2 million podcasts out there. That's what they'll tell you. But only about 500,000 of those are actually putting out an episode every week, or even out of that number, let's say 2 million, only about 500,000 of those have put out more than 3 episodes.
Wow.
A lot of start and then they stop. Usually, actually, the number is around 7. That's the burnout.
Wow, that is fascinating. Is that the number between 3 and 7 that suddenly in there they think, wow, that's a lot of work?
I'm done. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And if you had a big tip for making a podcast successful with more than 10 years of experience under your belt, doing it consistently and stunningly, I might add, what do you think one of those tips would be for our audience?
Well, you have to go, everybody podcasts for a different reason. So it really depends on what is your why, what's your purpose in doing this. If it's just for fun to hang out with your buddies in the basement and, have something to listen to. There's all different reasons to make content. And you'll see that on YouTube. There's people that are really trying to do something, and then there's people just messing around. Well, it's the same thing with podcasting. But if you really do want to do podcasting, you want to get good at it, you want to get successful, I think I would say if you're just starting out, I would go ahead and make 5 episodes, just 5 episodes even on your iPhone, or on your phone. Just make 5 episodes and see if you can do that, because a lot of people think they have a lot to say, but it runs out real quick. They're just they're not used to speaking in front of a microphone. So the first thing, just see if you can do 5 of whatever you're thinking.
That is actually really cute. They run out of things to say. That's spectacular. And what are some of the tools that have really helped you? Like, I love tools. I love talking about tools that have helped. What are a couple of the tools that you use just getting your podcast out and into production?
Well, once you do start podcasting, once you decide on your niche, and it really is all about niche, because the smaller the podcast, the smaller the topic, the better off you'll do. Because you don't need to be in the top 10 on Apple Podcasts. You just need to have like 1,000 fans of your own. So the smaller your podcast is, maybe it's about needle pointing. Maybe it's about painting a car paint.
Right. No, that would be a huge niche.
Yeah. Maybe it's just about shopping at Albertsons. Who knows? Whatever it is, the smaller topic it is, the better. And what was the question, Margot?
That was I just want to stop you because that was such a good winning tip. This is the Winner's Circle, and we try to highlight things, tips that really win for people. I started this because I heard somebody complaining for so long on her topic that I was actually looking for guidance for. And I thought, I'm going to start something that's just really winning strategies. And your winning strategy, I just want to pull it out for you, is really niche down for success. And I love, could you imagine just doing a podcast just about shopping at Albertsons? But you know what? I actually listen to a lady who just does Trader Joe's meals for busy moms. And sometimes I go in there and I'm like, oh, I got something.
That's a good one. Actually, I'm familiar with that. But it is important to just really do what you want to do and what you're good at, what your hobby is. And if it is interviewing and general curiosity, I still think that you should try to narrow that as well, because long form interview has been done over and over again.
Of
So
course.
I don't know if I would compete with that, because
Mhm.
that's really a broad category. So like on my show, Story Worthy, I have people bring a true story. And, you can learn a lot about
Mhm.
the story people bring, what do they want to talk about? And usually it's a pretty darn good story. And so I don't have to do the long form interview because it's all kind of within their story.
Right. And I
And,
actually love how you promote it. You do a great job promoting the true story. And then you have a game show based on true stories. I
yeah.
mean, I think you're really, really good in the genre of pulling the comedy out of people's true stories.
Yeah, well, there is always comedy for sure. But I would think that to go back to the question that you asked,
Tools. What are some
tools.
of the tools? Because it's a
If you
big
become a
production to get it done.
Yeah, if you
What
become
tools
a
do you use?
podcaster, you are going to become a bit of a nerd, because you definitely will need to use a lot of tools. And these tools are free and they're designed to help you. So don't be afraid of using certain tools. Like I use GarageBand to edit. I use
Mhm.
Auphonic to master the production.
Mhm.
That does cost $11 or $12 a month.
Mhm.
But, of course, I have a website, and that's called, I use Squarespace.
Mhm.
And then I use Headliner to do my promotions.
Mhm.
And then, of course, all the social medias are involved. And I use Bitly to shorten my links. And so I'm always touching little things. And, I have them all in my
Mhm.
bookmark bar
Of
on my
course.
computer. So if you get a little tiny bit organized, it's not that hard to quickly go over to Headliner and then flip back over to Twitter, or whatever you need to do.
Mhm.
And so the tools are there to help you, and most of them are free. And don't be intimidated, because really all of these programs are designed to the lowest level of technical understanding. So they really do make it easy.
Yeah, I think I love that you align it to being a nerd. I do know that you have extraordinary technical capabilities and design abilities, from your websites to your promotions. I would throw in some tools that I use, because I do love tools and I find it really helpful when people share. This broadcast is being done on StreamYard, which
Oh, I
is a
love
way to
StreamYard.
create your own sort of production studio within, a more advanced way than a Zoom or making a recording that way. I mad crazy love my favorite tool in all of work life is Calendarly. I
Mhm,
like sending people. Invited you, and you just send a link. Here are the times I'm available.
mhm.
Pick any time or suggest another. I can't live without my Calendarly link, because that takes away, like 20 emails. And then I use Agorapulse for all my pre-social, and I like being able to look at it and write it beforehand, and then sort of do that. And then we use Canva a lot for
Mhm.
all the cards we create to promote.
Yeah, I
Um,
use Canva as well.
yeah.
Another thing I tell podcasters is to really look into, the whole medium of podcasts. Like, what
Mhm.
podcasts do you listen to? What do you like about them? What don't you like about them? So let's say you want to do that needle pointing podcast. Well, you need to get in there to Apple Podcasts and see every other show. Those people that are doing needlepoint podcasts are not your enemy. They're not your competition. They're your friends. So at some point you get to know those shows, right? You don't go in cold. You get to know
Mhm.
those shows, and then you approach them via their website. Everybody has a contact, on their website. You find those people wherever they are, and you write to them, hey, I'm starting my new show about needle pointing. Why don't you come on? Let's hear what you've learned. And then maybe they'll reciprocate. You don't know.
Mhm. That's
But
a really great tip. That's
making
also
connections.
another winning strategy. No, I do that, in PR and marketing. A lot of people look at their competition only as competition. They
Yeah.
don't look at them as partners or the open knowledge space or comrades. And if you can look at them as comrades, and really, it's really important for people to do their research and know their genre and know their topic really
Mhm.
well. And I
Yeah.
think in that spot, people really make a lot of mistakes when they don't take the time to dive into what's being done.
Yeah.
And that's a
I
big one.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
And then, Christine, now this is, I know that many people want to know this. And I don't even know how to properly ask it, but I know people think, oh, I'm going to have a podcast and I'm going to get sponsors and
Mm.
I'm going to get ads in there. And I know that's not an easy deal. And I know you are incredibly fantastic with it. What is that process like? Is there a number of viewers you need to have, or listeners that you need to have? Because you've been doing it for so long. If somebody wanted to know, if they were at the midpoint saying, how can I be Christine Blackburn besides beautiful hair and lighting, what would you say on your Story
Well,
Worthy
first of
podcast?
all, I don't always have sponsors on my show. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And
Mhm.
some months I make money, and some months I don't make money. And I didn't make money for at least the first 3 years. And then even over the last 9 years, because I've been doing this, it'll be 12 years in July. It sometimes it's working well and sometimes it's not. I mean, not my podcast is always strong and good. It's me. It's a reflection of me. I make it perfect. But I'm talking about.
I will say you do make it perfect.
They
you
come
are
and
one
go.
hardworking producer. Like
But advertisers come and go. Sponsorships change. The CRM, which is the actual number per. So it's like a lot of people get like $25 per 1,000 listeners. $25 per 1,000 listeners. So if you have 1,000 listeners, you'll get $25 to do that 30-second ad or 60-second ad, depending on the agreement. But, it's not easy at all to make money in podcasting. So I would, of course, tell everybody out there. So you can't think about it as making money. It has to be your passion, your hobby, and something you really want to get out there. But I will say that there are different tools you can use that even if you do have, like a lot of people say the baseline is 10,000 followers. I don't think that's true at all. I think it's changed. I think if you have 1,000 people in a certain niche, you could get some good sponsors, but not local sponsors, right? People would say to me, why don't you approach your gym and then tell them you'll advertise them on Story Worthy and then they'll give you a free gym membership. And it's like, yeah, but that's crazy because my gym is only in one location in one neighborhood.
Right.
My show's all over the world. What would that do for them? So sponsorship can be tricky, but there's other things you can do, to make money. Once you are up and running, you can sponsor other people's podcasts. So remember the other podcast you were listening to, the other needlepoint people? Oh, you can say, hey, you want to do a swap? Or why don't you, I can drop your show on my feed, my hosting feed and give me $100 or, there are different ways to get compensated, but that you cannot go into podcasting thinking that that's going to be commonplace.
I know. And I think that is a very commonplace misconception that people have in many arenas of social media. I see it happen all the time on TikTok. People are looking to monetize their feed or whatever. And that one has a similar guideline, $100 for every 10,000 followers or whatever that would be. But I think it's a very, very misunderstood area, which is why I wanted to ask that question.
Yeah.
And what do you think something that you really learned from all your time doing it, Christine, and all the productions? What do you think is a major life or work lesson you've garnered from it that surprised you, that you would have never thought, look what I've learned?
Well, I guess I would say that, people's time is so valuable. And when you're asking them to watch a YouTube video or listen to a podcast or go to your play or go hear your stand-up, go down to the comedy club, hear some stand-up, or go out to dinner or go out and play tennis, anytime you're talking about, trying to get somebody to do something for you, you're talking about their time, and that's really valuable. So you can't screw around with people's time. So when you start podcasting, the first 3 you make, don't even air them. Don't air them. Redo them later with the guests. Tell them, you're just warming up. In other words, it takes a little while to get good. You're going to make mistakes. Of course, you're going to make mistakes. But, obviously, it's just stick-to-itiveness. If you want to quit, then you will. It's no big deal. And if you don't want to quit, then you won't quit. So it's nothing personal, but yet it is personal. But you can't be wrong. So just you be you.
You can't be wrong. Isn't that so sweet? That is so sweet. And I also know, Christine, because we've had conversations before, you say you can't be wrong and don't quit.
Yeah.
Right? You can't be wrong and don't quit. And I will say of the many people I know, I always admire and appreciate, and this would be like any winning strategy for anyone, you are a consistent woman. You were like the Energizer bunny of consistency. If there's anybody I know who's more consistent in their genre, it's you.
Thanks.
Seriously, you win and triumph through all of that. And then what is next? I know we can keep in touch with you at Story Worthy Podcast, and there's more that you do.
StoryWorthyPodcast.com, of course. StoryWorthyPodcast.com. That would be ground control. And like Margot mentioned, I have a game show called Story Smash. It's really funny. People go up, spin a wheel, whatever it lands on, they tell a true 1-minute story on that topic.
You should win an award. Oh, I'm giving you an award. You get the award between Story Smash and Story Worthy Podcast for true storytellings.
Yeah.
There's an award for no BS. It goes to you. No BS storytelling and seriously champion production level of output.
Oh, wow.
It's truly in that way, Christine, you're an absolute winner.
Thanks,
you so
Margot.
much for joining us here and
So
your winning tips. And anybody who wants to tune into storyworthypodcast.com, go find Christine, visit her at Story Smash down at the Improv if you're local. And thank you for joining us and sharing your winning tips. I'm going to take a quick recap. Christine Blackburn, you taught us to niche down all the time. Stay consistent. Embrace your inner nerd as you go into all the tools that you're going to need. And no matter what, if you really want to succeed, don't quit. Thank you, Christine Blackburn, for joining us here. All right, everybody tune into storyworthypodcast.com and Christine Blackburn. Thanks for joining us at the Winner's Circle.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye.